Alright, here's a little modest setup that I found works pretty good. This radio is, surprisingly to me, it's a really nice little radio. I've always been a fan of the basic radio like these, all the way back to the days of the PC-76 and all that. This gives you that classic feel, and it actually, you know, there's no menus or any of that stuff in it, so it's super easy. You can use this while you're driving, and you're not going to take your eyes off the road or anything like that, because you can easily memorize what everything is. And if you're driving, you're probably just changing channels for the most, and maybe adjusting the squelch or whatever, but turning the volume up and down. You may decide at one point or another you want high cut or no high cut, stuff like that, but there's not really a whole lot of distraction on a radio like this, which is good for driving. So I would say that this is going to be more like, I hate to classify a radio as this is a truck driver radio, but I would say that this would be a really good option for that, or just in general, just a vehicle, you know, any vehicle, whether you're a truck driver, non-truck driver, whatever, just a really nice radio for a vehicle because it's easy to use. So what we're going to do here is just quickly show the power. The only thing I've done to this radio is just, and I'm not selling this either, so I'm just showing it to show it. It's about 2 watts, 2.2 watts, and then with peak envelope power. And I didn't adjust the AMC at all. I mean, it didn't need it, in my opinion. It was right where it should be. So as you can see, we're not like going crazy with power, but it's doing good. It's doing real good. So we got this here. This would be something you could modestly like run this with it. And I'm not gonna like preach to the choir about how you should run this, how you shouldn't run it, but we easily know with this radio we're within the safe limitation of what this needs. The big difference here and what guys I think get confused with these, see how it says HD? What that means is, yeah, you can put more input power into it. The only reason you can is because inside there's a input attenuator. So the 503 doesn't have it, which therefore you can't put as much power into it. It does not mean that you're going to get more power out of the amp. The 2 amps do the same power, the non-HD or this one. Power is the same. It's just how does it take that power? How much power can you put in? That's the difference. The HD allows you to put more in, but it does not mean that you're going to get more out. So it's not in the sense that, like in the CB world, guys would think, well, it's an HD, I can hit it harder, and it's going to do more. No, that's not the case. There's just an attenuator into the input of this, and there's not on the other one. So they also have an output attenuator here. That's what this is, the low to high or whatever. It's an attenuator on the output. I think both have that. So we're not going to attenuate the output. So there's our radio still. So again, it's somewhere between 10 and 20. So we just powered on the amp. So now we have about 40 to 50 on the dead key. And then, I don't know, we're seeing about 4 to 5 times the power, which I think is about right. And this sounds pretty killer. I mean, the audio is really good out of it. Again, I'm running my favorite mic with it, you know, and I don't run it past about here. Mic gain stays all the way at 100%. Now, if you have this in a vehicle, noisy vehicle with the windows down and or AC fan blowing really loud, or you got background noise, stereo in the background. I mean, I don't know what people do in their cars. I know when it's hot I run my AC, but generally if I'm listening to my CB or whatever, I don't have my stereo going, but some guys might. So, you know, you have to factor all that in, and you may need to turn the mic gain down. Or you could leave the mic gain up and turn the mic down a little bit, but at a certain point your mic will shut off. So if you need to critique it a little more, you can back your mic gain down. So let's just back that down to 50% and just see. We'll see what that does. It really doesn't do much. I didn't check that control to really see how linear it was, the mic gain. Sometimes on these radios those controls are a little fooling. They don't do as much. Sometimes they do too much, sometimes they don't do as much as you might think. There's a quarter of the way up right there. So even at a quarter of the way up, it still isn't really dropping off on power that much. So as you can see, it's still pretty good. So again, you'd be able to adjust that, and probably depending, you can lower the mic down quite a bit. Now I'm not really picking up, like the mic's on the table and I'm sitting in the chair and it's not really picking me up too well. So that might be more the, you could run it like that, and then when you talk into your mic, it still picks you up good. So I don't know, every mobile situation is different. So personally for me, I run it all the way up and I run the mic about here. And if I were to run this in my car, that's how I would run it. Now, when I want to use my CB, if it's hot, I have my windows up in the car, I have the AC on, and I have it to a certain point where it's not like a wind tunnel in the background. But, again, though, a lot of modulation out of this unit in CB. So, is this a viable option for somebody? Sure it is. You could sound really good like this, and I mean, I don't know what I think the retail on these are in the mid 100 range or something like that. I wouldn't pay somebody a bunch of money to modify it. I think it just, anybody can go in and turn the dead key down like I did, and the audio is pretty good right out of the factory. So, a good sounding mic like this does a lot for it. And, I don't know what these go for anymore, but I'm assuming a few $100s. I have no clue because I'm not selling these, nor do I plan on it in the future. But I mean, I would say if you excluded my microphone out of this situation, maybe, what are you looking at here? 100, I don't know, 150, let's say. And I don't know what these go for, 250, 300. So you're looking at the price of like a 10-meter radio for a couple different options. But again, I'm not trying to tell people what they should and shouldn't run. I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of, I had this for a few years and never used it, and I think it's a cool radio. I'll probably put this in my car next just because I like the basic feel of the radio. And if I want sideband or something, then I can always throw my Grand or something back out there. But for now, I'm not really doing sideband out of the car ever. So as long as I got AM, which is the preferred mode, and anywhere I travel, everybody's on AM. So as long as I got AM, I'm not missing out on anything really. Skip and stuff like that, I mean, I can always do that when I get home from work in the base. So I can live without some sideband in the car. I'm not fully sold on always having to have sideband in the car, but it definitely wouldn't put this in my car. It's way too big. And for what the amp does power wise, I think it could be half the size or whatever. But you could put the 203 behind this and it would work pretty good, I think, barring that you filtered it, because those are really nasty on the output. But again, I mean, there's options out there for guys that don't want to invest a lot. You have a really nice quiet receiver on this. It's going to be nice and sensitive, has a nice basic S meter with the bright and dim and stuff like that. So pretty much like a bulletproof receiver on these. So and it pick up a ton of interference or anything like that on a radio like that. But again, if you're looking for a few 100 watts of power, and I think they have an FM version of this now, so if you wanted FM, you're going to see way less power out of this amp on a setup like this, because this amp needs like, I think at least 25 watts to get a couple hundred on FM. So at 4 watts you're not going to see that much. So I don't think many guys would really be too concerned with FM. If you are, then you'd have to get a higher power radio to be able to make this thing do more power on FM. But again, different strokes for different folks. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. I'm going to get this stuff off the bench here and think about maybe putting this one out in the car. I think it'd be a good option. Just a nice basic radio. 73.